I'm tired of being humble, let me get to it. That motivation music, get control of your life, don't let nobody else do it. Cause and I gon' have Metro S550s cruising. Feel like you winning on the
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. Now, I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like, dislike, or just want to jump in on a conversation, hit us up, 219-413-9405. And of course, we will play your take back on our next episode. And then shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. Now, this code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So I don't know about you, but it's a lot of football going on. If you got it like that, go to the World Series, or if you just want to go to a concert or something, you can also do that. Use that promo code, save yourself $20. Now, however, one of the games I'm going to be looking at, NFL, is the Atlanta Falcons and Miami Dolphins here. So we're coming off of a crazy week in Week 7. I think, if anything, Week 7 have proved to a lot of teams that there's some unreliable football here, especially if you're a fan of the Atlanta Falcons. If you're a fan of the Atlanta Falcons, you already know that this is one of the most inconsistent teams in the NFL, especially when you talk about offense. They got beat by the 49ers last week, 20-10, and then now they're going to try and bounce back against the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins are 1-6. So this is the week to do it. If you're the Atlanta Falcons and you're trying to get in the win column, this is the week you could literally not ask for a better matchup to bounce back into the win column against the Miami Dolphins. This is not shade at anything the Miami Dolphins is doing. This is just what it looks like based on what we've seen so far through Week 7. This is all I have. It's that simple. This is the perfect game to bounce back and the perfect week to bounce back. Falcons, they held the number one passing offense in the 49ers to only 125 passing yards and forced the interception last week. So they should be able to do some nasty, nasty things to the Miami Dolphins. It should get ugly from the defensive point. So if anything, if the Falcons can't win this game offensively by putting up a bunch of points, I'm definitely relying on his defense to force some turnovers. But this is also a Dolphins team where you cannot just rely on them to come out and play bad. Yes, they have some consistency issues as well on their offensive side of the ball. But ultimately, Mike McDaniel, you could consider him an offensive guru. It's just his team doesn't always execute the game plan. So that's the big if about the Miami Dolphins, but ultimately I think the Falcons will be all right. And then for the Falcons offense, they should be okay in this game as well. Theoretically, the Falcons offense should be just fine. The game plan for this game against the Falcons and Dolphins should be none other than pound the rock and keep it on the ground. The Dolphins are literally dead last in rushing yards allowed per game, and they have the worst run defense in the NFL. So if the Falcons offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson, does anything outside of keeping the ball on the ground and running up the score and running down the field, I don't know what else to tell him. I don't know what else to say. But this is one of those things where if you look at the statistics and you see that opponents are dead last, why would you try and do anything else? Yes, get the run game activated. And if you can open up some other avenues there, then of course that's going to be beneficial. But all of that starts with establishing the ground game when you first step out on the field. So that's what I'm expecting here from the Falcons. Ultimately, this offense just needs to be consistent. This Atlanta Falcons offense, if they were consistent, they would have had a lot more wins than they do already. But this Falcons offense is just the most inconsistent I've seen. I don't even want to say I've seen in years, but this is just a very inconsistent offense. And it's not necessarily that the players are inconsistent or playing bad. It's really the play calling. Zach Robinson, the coordinator, cannot get good play calls in no matter who he's going against. So I don't know what to think here with the Falcons offensively. Now, I will say this. So with this matchup, Dolphins and Falcons, I'm kind of expecting a snooze fest. Truth be told, I'm kind of expecting somewhat of a snooze fest, really because neither one of these teams are good at scoring. Both are averaging less than 21 points. You got the Dolphins right now, they're 24th in points per game, and the Falcons are even worse in points per game. They're 30th in points per game. So neither one of these teams are going to be going out here probably lighting up the scoreboard. So I'm anticipating a snooze fest. Now, Dolphins, a lot of their issues on offense just resides with execution and getting yeah, it just really resolves with execution. I mean, that's the main thing with this Dolphins offense. They fail to execute down the stretch, and like Tua, he's been struggling. He has 13 interceptions in the first 7 weeks of football. He has 3 interceptions in back-to-back games. Like, Tua was benched last week because he was playing so bad. They're bottom half in passing yards. They're bottom half in rushing yards. Dolphins offense just failed to execute week in and week out. There are some times where they look good for a certain stretch of the game, but ultimately they just fail to execute, which is why they have such a bad record right now, and which is why they're not winning games. But ultimately, Falcons also have their issues offensively as well. I mean, they didn't score a single point against the Panthers. Not to say the Panthers are awful or whatever, but you literally didn't score a single point, not even a field goal. So it's not so much the Falcons have bad stats on their side, but they just have inconsistency. Their consistent play calling is just terrible. The play calling is always up and down. Hence, you had a 4th and 1, but yet you were in shotgun trying to pass. And that was just disgusting to look at. You had 4 screen passes in one drive last week, which was just disgusting. That was just disgusting. So, you know, I look at these offenses here, and I'm not really expecting much from either team, whether it's the Dolphins or the Falcons offensively. Now, I still say Falcons have an edge because they have a good ground game, whereas the Dolphins are dead last in rushing yards allowed. So this is an avenue to exploit. But ultimately, both of these teams struggle offensively. The Dolphins, they can't execute a simple game plan from Mike McDaniel, so they're struggling from quarterback, from head to toe, all the way down. And then the Falcons are just so inconsistent within their play calling. So both teams are struggling offensively. I'm predicting a snooze fest. I don't think either team gets over 20 points. But ultimately, I think it'll come down to the defense. Falcons are going to probably win because of the defense. They're still pretty solid, and I'm just expecting them to at least hold the Dolphins to less points than what the Falcons can get. Even if that's 2 field goals, I'm just expecting the defense to still be able to hold this offense and create some sort of turnovers for the Miami Dolphins, because they haven't looked good at all. They made so many mistakes throughout the time of this season up until week 8. So I just don't know what to think with the Dolphins, but they can surprise you. They can surprise you. So when I look at the projections, it's scary for me. Because like I said, Dolphins can't surprise you. Yes, they made a lot of mistakes. They failed to execute the game plan a lot of times. But ultimately, we've seen them score points in a game. We've seen them have a stretch or two within multiple games so far this season where they did look all right, and they looked like they had some promise. But it's just, one, they're inconsistent and they fail to execute. So I'm a little nervous because the Falcons offense, you could say the same exact thing with them. The play calling is terrible and they're just very inconsistent. And with the game preview picks, this is what makes me nervous, because everybody in the NFL predictions have predicted the Falcons to win. And yeah, I know this should be a good thing where it's like, oh yeah, okay, everybody's saying my team is going to win, the Falcons are going to win. But usually when this happens, the Falcons lose, because last week they did the same thing heading into that San Francisco game. And what happened? The Falcons falcon. They ended up looking terrible. They looked like a completely different team than what we've seen previously in that game where they were lighting it up offensively, had a big offensive explosion and all of that. So you just never really know what Falcons team you're going to get. And every time the projections look like they do, and let me see if I can show you. Actually, I can't show you, but I can't show you for y'all, for those who are in the live right now. But you would know what I'm talking about. The game day predictions. Everybody chose Falcons, and usually when this happens, they lose. Falcons love to do the opposite. When everybody has their money on them, when everybody has their bottom dollar, when everybody's hoping and thinking they're gonna do good, they always come out and play bad. So that's the one thing I'm really concerned about here, and I'm hoping it don't happen. I'm hoping. I said it last week. I literally said this last week. I said, going into that 49ers game, I said the Falcons will be all right as long as they don't falcon. And what did they do? They falconed. And literally, we're back in the same position. We'll be okay against the Dolphins. We have the run advantage. Dolphins are dead last in rushing yards allowed. So we should be able to run all over the Dolphins and get some sort of points. And the offense has just been bad for the Dolphins, which same for ours, and the Atlanta Falcons have been bad. But as long as the Falcons don't come out in falcon, we should be okay. And honestly, if the Falcons do come out in falcon, the Falcons should still be able to win as long as you keep the ball on the ground and let Bijan Robinson run. Because dead last in rushing yards opens up dead last in rushing yards allowed, Miami Dolphins, that opens up so much room for an offense to be able to do anything. So I would just be shocked. And I don't even know why I'm getting my hopes up. To be honest, I don't know why I'm getting my hopes up. Hopefully the Falcons win. I'm gonna just leave it at that. Just please, man, just go have fun, fellas. Just go have fun. I know I said that about teams where it looked like it was a very slim chance that the Falcons would win, but at this point, man, just go out there and have fun, because I don't want to get my hopes up with the Falcons that they'll go win and then all of a sudden we end up losing to the Miami Dolphins. Like, come on, man. So have fun. I got the Falcons winning this game also, but this is a team that's just mad inconsistent, so anything can truthfully happen, but we'll see. Anyway, look, man, we got some news for the run coming up, so don't go anywhere. Also, another prediction with the Giants and Eagles, the division matchup. Can't wait to break that down. The start of the NBA is here as well, so we got some crazy stuff going on. Definitely want to run some things past you in the news, so we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. It is halftime. All right. All right, man. Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson. I appreciate you for tuning in. Leave us a quick take on the voicemail line, 219-413-9405, if you just want to join anything that on the conversation we're having. So we got some news for the run. To start off with the MLB, the World Series, obviously, as you know, the Dodgers will be playing the Blue Jays, Toronto versus LA, Drake versus Kendrick. We get another rematch, I guess, even though it was an obvious winner in LA. So hoping that the Blue Jays win this ball game here in the two. But the game one of this World Series starts tomorrow. So excited for this matchup to get started. And I'm going for the Blue Jays to win it this time, though, man. I'm tired of seeing the Dodgers win. We got the Yankees up out of there. The Yankees lose. And then we just got to get the Dodgers up out of here. We got to get the Dodgers gone, man. So I'm ready to see the Blue Jays secure this World Series, please. Other than that, look, man, we got some NBA news as well, because the NBA started up, and man, the NBA has hit strong early on, literally day 2 of the NBA. We already got some crazy news. We got some crazy scores, things like that. So day 2 of the NBA, this news comes out. The FBI arrested Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier and Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups as part of a federal probe into illegal gambling. Crazy. Now, to clarify, Chauncey Billups' arrest with the FBI is not basketball related. They said it's reportedly due to his involvement in an illegal poker operation tied to the mafia. How crazy is this? This is literally day 2 of the NBA. It's almost like the FBI was just holding on to this information, waiting until these games was played to say, here, take this in, but boom, make it news now. Boom, here we go. Boom, publish it now. NBA's rolling strong. Oh, Wemby put up 40, boom. Billups, mafia, gambling, illegal. Like, this is crazy. So this is the main thing. Terry Rozier might be done. Also, there's some more ongoing investigations within team issues with gambling. So apparently Lakers have been called out with gambling schemes. The Toronto Raptors have been called out with gambling schemes. So there are more and more teams that's just coming out or getting exposed, I should say, with illegal gambling probe operations or just all kind of things that's happening with illegal gambling. So only day 2, but I'm sure there'll be more and more information to go along as the NBA season goes on. So it's a very, very wild start to the NBA in terms of crime, in terms of scoring and all kind of things. All right, so let's give you some of the games that happened. So I'm not going to go all the way back to opening night. I'm not even going to go to all of the games in the NBA. I'm going to just put some standout performances and some standout games that happened. So Wemby, oh my gosh, Victor Wembanyama, this man is an alien. I think this is something we already knew, but Spurs played the Dallas Mavericks. They beat the Mavericks 125-92, and Wembanyama had 40, 15 rebounds, and 3 blocks. Wembanyama looked like an absolute freak out here, and not just because he's 7'5", but because I'm watching him do step back jumpers. I'm watching Wemby tween, bounce back behind the legs, step back, pull up, cash. I'm watching him post fade over 2 defenders, cash. I'm watching him power dribble, side step, shoot, cash from the 3, from the mid range. Watching him go to the rim and dunk on people. I feel like watching Wemby today is probably how people felt watching Wilt Chamberlain in the 60s. This is insane. I've never seen a player like this. I thought I seen it. I know I ain't seen it all, but I thought this is just, it's crazy, man. All I can say is go watch Victor Wembanyama in the Spurs. Just go watch the Spurs. Because this dude is crazy. It's crazy. It's insane of what he did. All right, so that wasn't the only standout performance. Obviously, there was a couple other great games. Anthony Edwards hit a game winner against the Trailblazers. The Wolves won 118-114. Anthony Edwards finished with 41.7 rebounds, and I thought he had it was clutch shots at the end of the game that gave the Wolves the win. And I mean, it's only one game, so you can't really make any crazy assumptions. But hey, he looked good out there. Also, Jeremy Grant with the Portland Trailblazers had 29 points, and I think that's tough to consider as well because they got a young, solid core over there with the Trailblazers, so maybe they make something happen. Also, too, and a standout performance, the 76ers beat the Boston Celtics 117-116, and Tyrese Maxey had 40 points, which was crazy. Really good performance there from the Celtics and the 76ers in that game. Also, Bulls, they held it down, man. They beat my Pistons 115-111. They were up by a large margin at one point, but Pistons ended up coming back. And then a stat here for the Pistons, man. Yeah, it wasn't really as much of Cade or what everybody else was doing, but I think the most impressive thing for me with this Pistons team, at least looking at the stat sheet, was that Isaiah Stewart had 20 points and 10 rebounds in this matchup against the Chicago Bulls. So that says a lot about what he was able to do, and really just his impact on the floor. I know we missed him in the playoffs, but that's a huge impact there. Knicks, they ended up beating the Cavaliers 119-111. You had the Hornets, they beat the Nets 136-117. Magic, they beat the Heat 125-121. And then the Bucks, they also beat the Wizards, which was pretty obvious, 133-120, but this game was important because Giannis almost had a 40-piece. He threw up 37 points and had 14 rebounds. So definitely a crazy start to week 1 in the NBA, and I'm just shocked. But the takeaway of it all is go watch Victor Wembanyama with the San Antonio Spurs. That's all. That's the takeaway from this week 1 is go watch Victor, because Crazy performance from him. Crazy. All right. Anyway, look, so we got some NFL news as well. Just kind of want to recap all the games that's going to be happening today, or not today, but this next week or upcoming week in week 8. So to kick off today, Thursday, you have the Minnesota Vikings playing the LA Chargers. This is going to be happening in Inglewood at SoFi Stadium. So pretty good game here. I'm anticipating, usually the Thursday night games have been bangers. So hopefully we continue on that trend. The Dolphins will take on the Atlanta Falcons. Listen to the previous breakdown I had of this if you haven't been listening to the full episode. Go back. The New York Jets will be playing the Bengals. Not really anticipating a good game here. Yeah, whatever. Patriots and Browns. I got the Patriots winning that game, even though the Browns finally got in the right column, winning last week. Eagles and Giants. I'll touch on that in a second. Bills versus the Panthers. Got the Bills winning that, but the Panthers have been rolling. They're back in the positive side of the win column, so you can't really count them out, and they are also 3-0 at home. So you got to consider what the Panthers is doing, and as I've said before, Bryce Young has kind of been on a heater as soon as he throws that first interception. Once it's over with, then he starts balling out. So I wouldn't sleep on this Panthers team. Falcons did beat the Bills, and a lot of people counted the Falcons out, even though the Falcons did play good. But I wouldn't put it past the Panthers to actually go and beat the Bills too. So I would be surprised, and I think I'm going to go with the upset of Panthers actually beating the Bills in this matchup, considering Panthers are 3-0 at home, and hey, they take care of business so far. So you got the Bears playing the Ravens in Baltimore, 49ers and the Texans. You have the Buccaneers and the Saints. Cowboys will be playing the Denver Broncos. I'm excited for that matchup as well. The Colts will be playing the Titans. Definitely keep an eye out for the Colts. Packers will take on the Steelers in Pittsburgh. And then for Monday Night Football, no doubleheader. Finally, we just got the Commanders playing the Kansas City Chiefs, and no Jaden Daniels will be active in this matchup. But the matchup I'm super excited about here is this matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants. Man, I'm anticipating a great matchup here. And a lot of people think the obvious winners of this game is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles, because they're so popular and because they won a championship and all of these things. I get it. A lot of people are just immediately making the Eagles the favorite. But the one thing you cannot overlook is the Giants already beat this team earlier in the season of week 6. They beat them 34-17, and this is the beginning of a new Giants team. So in this matchup between the Eagles and the Giants, I'm going with the New York Giants to win this ball game. It's a division game. Literally anything can happen. Giants have been rolling these past few weeks, and they also already beat the Eagles earlier in the season. The Eagles offense haven't been convincing to me. I'm not super convinced that the Eagles are here and they're back to their normal standards. They still haven't been able to get the ground game going. They kind of looked okay with throwing the ball, and Jalen Hurts looked good with throwing the ball last week against the Vikings, but I'm still not convinced, because guess what? The New York Giants looked great amongst a top 5 defense in the Denver Broncos. Yes, they lost the game and they blew the matchup, even though they let the Broncos score 33 points in one game, but ultimately the New York Giants did go toe-to-toe with them, and they were up big time over the Denver Broncos, who are a top 5 defense statistically in this game. So I'm going with the New York Giants to win. But anyway, let's look at some of the statistics here. Some of the stats and why I say Eagles are going to lose and Giants are going to win is because, like, I see what the Eagles did offensively last week. They looked respectable, and I want to give them a lot of credit for that. But ultimately, A.J. Brown, he got involved. Devontae Smith got involved, which is what we love to see. And statistically, they absolutely have to find a way to get Saquon Barkley involved. If the Eagles don't find a way to get Saquon Barkley involved in this offense, it's going to continue to restrict their ability to reach their full potential. The Eagles cannot thrive how they did last year or even the year before if Saquon Barkley in the ground game is not rolling, because what the ground game does for an offense is gives them opportunities. And this is with any team in the NFL. Whenever your ground game is rolling as a team in the NFL, it gives you options to go into the play action. It gives you options to go into the screen passes, to go into the deep passes, because teams are focused on you handing the ball off to the running back. You have to get your ground game activated, and I don't think the Eagles' offense will be sustainable until they actually have the ground game activated. So because of that, that's a big reason why I'm not really too high on the Eagles right now. And Giants, they've been rolling over the last few weeks. Like I said, they had the big outing, I would say, against the Broncos, even though they ended up losing. But with this matchup, Giants, man, are coming off back-to-back 30-point games, and one of these 30-point games was against the Broncos, who's top 5 defense. Now, before that, the 30-piece that they had was against the Philadelphia Eagles, which is crazy because they ended up beating the Eagles. Now, Giants, they're ranked higher than the Eagles in passing yards per game. They're higher than the Eagles in rushing yards per game. And above all, the offense from the Giants just looked better than what we've seen from the Eagles so far. So it'll be interesting to see. I will say I'm expecting both offenses to really duel each other. I'm expecting an offensive shootout in this game between the Giants and the Eagles. I have very little confidence in both defenses, without a doubt. This is going to be an offensive game between Giants and Eagles. The defense will be important, and whichever team steps up on defense will win. But above all, Eagles, they're close to giving up 400 yards total in their last 5 games. Or let me say that better. They're close to giving up 400 yards each in their last 5 games. Over the last 5, they've given up almost 400 yards. So I'm not really expecting the Eagles to buckle up defensively. They let Carson Wentz throw over 300 yards last week. And then for the Giants, they gave up 33 points in 1 quarter. I'm not really going for this team locking in on defense. So it'll be an offensive showdown. Both teams are bottom half in passing yards allowed. Both are bottom half in rushing yards allowed. And it's going to be whatever defense steps up first. But I'm excited to see what happens, man. Giants, they also have 2 starters out in the secondary, which didn't seem to be a problem last week until the final moments of the game in the 4th quarter. So, I think Eagles, they'll be able to keep it close with the scoring and maybe finding some sort of rhythm in the offense. But ultimately, I got the Giants winning. Giants, they've been rolling, man, and they look good. And ultimately, I'm still on the train of rookie quarterbacks have an edge. So with Jackson Dart coming out to play the Eagles, yes, they've already seen them, but I still think Jackson Dart has a slight advantage. Rookie quarterbacks have a slight edge in the NFL. And the main reason I say this is because nobody has film. Nobody has tape. Nobody has their tendencies of knowing what this guy does good, what makes him uncomfortable, what makes him nervous, what is he bad at doing, what is he good at doing. Like, can he throw deep really well? Can he throw short really well? Can he throw medium really well? Nobody really knows all the tendencies from these young quarterbacks and rookie quarterbacks. Therefore, they end up thriving if they have some skill in their first year. You look at all the other examples, C.J. Stroud, Jaden Daniels now, he proves my theory true so far. Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert. I'm not saying none of these guys are bad or they suck at playing quarterback. I'm just saying the seasons that they've had over the past few haven't compared to their rookie season out of all those guys. So rookie quarterbacks have an edge. And I think because of that, Jackson Dart is probably going to continue to be on a heater like he's been. And ultimately, I see them beating the Eagles once more. And if they do beat the Eagles, this is going to be crazy because if they end up with the same record, Giants are getting in the playoffs and the Eagles won't. I know the records look extremely different right now in what you see. Eagles, they're on the winning side. Giants are still in the negative. But if they lose this division game, it's going to open up a lot of opportunities for the Giants to possibly sneak into the playoffs. So I'm going to leave it at that. But I have the Giants winning this ball game. I think the Giants offense is just slightly better, man. Giants offense to me is definitely slightly better. Both defenses are a little bit on the shaky side, but above all, man, I got the Giants pulling this game off. I think it'll be a close matchup, and I think it'll be an offensive shootout. But it's a division game. Anything can happen. It might be high scoring, low scoring. I got a shootout happening, and I got the Giants winning this ball game. So other than that, man, that's all I got for you guys. I'm going to leave on a positive note here. And the positive note is just going to be as simple as stay consistent. It's the most boring thing in the world, but consistency is everything, really, man. Consistency is everything. It's the most boring thing in the world to do the same thing over and over and over again, but it is everything. It truly helps us get to where we're trying to go, and it helps us develop more and more at whatever we're staying consistent at. So that's the biggest thing I have right now, and you can apply that to whatever it is that you're currently trying to attend or currently trying to achieve or do or whatever it is, or just, think of it as a perspective of you go to work every day. You're consistent in it. You damn good at your job. So other than that, man, that's all I got for you. I do appreciate you tuning in. Share this with a cousin, a brother, uncle, niece, nephew, coworker, friend, family member, anybody you know of who enjoys sports. I promise you, they won't mind, bro. I guarantee you they will not mind that you sent this to them and told you, hey, he talked about the Eagles. That's your team. Or he picked the Giants to beat the Eagles. You know, I'm a Giants fan. I promise you they won't mind, bro. So send this to them. Follow us on Instagram as well, at The Run Podcast, TikTok, at The Run Podcast, YouTube, The Run with Manny Wilson. So check us out. Other than that, that's all I got for you. I appreciate you for tuning in, and I will be back next week. And so on, and so on, and so on.